Greetings, everyone. Love and light to everybody, and joy to the world. For the joy of the Lord is your strength. Keep that in mind. I just want to touch on, maybe touch bases with my last video. I think it was dealing with the thief. The thief coming not but to kill, steal, and to destroy. Another verse said, "Behold, I come as a thief." Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame, right? And we came to the conclusion that the thief was the fact that your words are seeds. And so every time you speak, you're sowing a seed or planting a seed in your garden, so to speak. Hint, hint about the Garden of Eden. And that while men slept, an enemy came in and sowed bad seeds or sowed tares among the wheat, right? There's also the parable of the sower, where Jesus explained that a sower sowed seed on stony ground, sowed seed on rocky ground, on sandy ground, on good ground, etc., etc. And depending on the ground the seed was sown or planted upon, determined the fruit or the recoup of that particular said seed. So I just want to preface this video, in the light of that one. And I want to read a little something from my notes here. It says that everything we can see in physical form has come to pass already. It's like a painting or a piece of art that you created. You wouldn't just continue to sit there and complain about a piece of art that you created if you didn't like how it turned out. No, you would just throw it aside, maybe sell it for cheap, and get working on the next better thing or the next project. It's the same with manifesting or creating your physical reality, right? We must first realize what's done is done already. No point in complaining about it. That only reinforces the life of the thing you're complaining about. So when you complain about something that's done already, you keep that thing alive. You keep it strong. You keep it going. You actually make it stronger and continue to reinforce it when you complaining about it. Because just giving it any light, giving it any attention, giving it any you're speaking life into it. In other words, so you are a prophet in the first place. Well, let's back up. It says that only reinforces the life of the thing you're complaining about. You see, you are a prophet in the first place, and you are one with the Most High Creator. Therefore, through your prophecy, the Creator creates through you. Through your prophecy, the Creator creates through you. Through your words, you were literally born to prophesy, to co-create with God through your thoughts, through your words, and through your emotions. However, this physical 3D realm has confused everyone and forced us to believe that the opposite is true, causing us to doubt ourselves and gaslighting anyone who doesn't go along with the worldview and popular opinion, etc., etc. It's why the Bible tells us to be not conformed to this world, but to be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You have to be competent and formidable enough to withstand the wiles of Satan and the influence of this physical realm. You're sent here to command it what to do. It has no shape until you give it shape. But if you let everyone around you, or news media, or popular opinions, gossip, and worldviews dictate for you what to think and how to feel, then you're giving your power away to the beast. You must simply rid yourself of all of these rumors and opinions and only speak, think, and feel the desires of your own heart. Because whatever you desire are because whatever your desires are, they are there asking your permission to manifest. Asking you to be on one accord and to be in alignment with them so that they can pass through. Or, come from spirit to the physical. That's why you feel them. They are basically knocking at the doors of your heart, actually. Like Christ said in Revelation, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him. That's the word. Jesus is the word. Made manifest, right? I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcometh, I will grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I overcame and am set down with the Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Remember, Jesus is the Word made flesh, or come to pass, right? In other words, the desires of your hearts are literally Jesus trying to come to pass in your life. Remember, we must remind ourselves not to limit Jesus to simply just a man. When the scripture says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Also in John 6:63, it is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. We like to put too much emphasis on the physical things, and overlook the spirit. The spirit gets overlooked of way too much. And it's like, remember the saying they said about a vampire cannot enter into your house if you don't invite them in. This is the same analogy, or the same thing when it comes to manifesting anything in your life. Things don't just happen. Things don't just pop up out of nowhere randomly in your life. They have to come from somewhere. There's an origin point where that thing was created at before it took place and manifested in your life. And this is why it is of utmost importance that you take inventory on your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions, because this is what's generating everything and pulling things in and attracting you're magnetically attracting these situations and events and whatever the things may be. So through your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, you're pulling these things, whether you know it or not, whether you agree with it or not. You might say, there's no way I could have caused this to happen. But if it took place in your life, it's the way of the universe. It's the way the universe works. You were a magnet to it. Some way, shape, or form, you were a magnet to it. And I'm gonna tell you, simply by fearing something, that is a strong feeling. Fear is a strong magnetic pull because, like we said before, fear is the same thing as faith. They're one and the same. And so when you fear a thing, it doesn't have to be any real particulars. The universe is going to, because it doesn't understand that you're in fear, it's reading your magnetic pull. It reads like that. It doesn't read in good or bad or fear and doubt and things of that nature. Those are human thoughts and human attributes. So all it understands is the fact that thing that you're fearing, it reads that you're connecting to that and that you have a magnetic pull on it. Because you fear it, fear is belief. So because you're fearing it, the universe sees it as you're believing it. See? So the best thing for us to do is to, number one, be absolutely fearless. That is going to stop a lot of unwanted things happening in your life. That equates to the scripture, and I believe it's in 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians, let's make sure about that. Second Corinthians, where it says, where it says casting down imaginations. I'm sorry, I can't find it in my notes right here, but I'm gonna try to quote it as best as I can off the top of my head. Where it says casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. In other words, you have to take serious inventory on the thoughts that come to your mind, and the thoughts that you don't prefer. You have to literally play goaltender in your thinking. You have to literally be like a goalie, blocking thoughts and casting them down. And only allowing and choosing the thoughts that feel better for you, that make more sense to you, that you would prefer to see manifest. Those are the thoughts that you allowing to bring in. You see? And another scripture in Psalms where he says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? You know, we're at a time now in this so-called awakening that everyone is experiencing, where this becomes a priority, where we learn to govern our thinking and govern our speech. Learning etymology, learning the true meaning of words, or learning how to alchemize and shapeshift with the words, to assign to them a better meaning and purpose, or to assign to them a better destination. so to speak. What I mean by that is, a, a thing doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. You could choose to look at it in a different way. It doesn't necessarily mean it was, meant to harm you or hurt you if something happened and it took away from you. You could actually look at it and tell yourself that was moved out of the way because something better is replacing it. It's just a matter of perception and how you're looking at things. You see what I'm saying? That's just a small example, but that can go in so many different ways. Let's not lose track of what I was talking about, because I understand that I did go off into a tangent regarding well, where did I leave off at? Casting down imaginations. So you want to block those unwanted thoughts from entering into your, first of all, entering into your thought process. And secondly, definitely not expressing emotion towards a thought that is unwanted or unpreferred or that you don't want to see manifest. You got to literally treat those thoughts like they don't even exist. All of the noise in the rest of the world taking place, all of the rumors, all of the everything that's gotten everybody else in such a uproar and in such a frenzy. You have to remain calm in the midst of all of this. We have to act like that stuff don't even exist, because it don't. It's really the enemy trying to get you to buy into something. That's all it is. They're trying to, the Matrix wants to keep you, plugged into the Matrix, keep you sucked into their ideology and their narratives, because it fears you creating your own. It needs you to keep it going, the beast. You see? But when you unplug from the Matrix and you act as if it's not real as if it don't exist, there's another scripture in Revelation that talks right about this, right upon it. Talking about the beast that was not, and yet it is. If I'm not saying that wrong, I think I said the beast that was and then was not and yet it still is. And that's what it's talking about. It's not even real, this so-called beast, but it's an illusion that everybody's buying into, and because everybody's buying into it and giving it life and giving it power, that makes it real. But all you have to do is cut it off. All you have to do is unplug from it. This big old conglomerate thing that, because of the masses of people and because of the collection that's pumping life into this false entity, is making it real. It's just like the monopoly money we call, the paper money we call money. It's nothing more but a piece of paper, but because we all buy into it collectively and give it meaning and give it life, that makes it real. That's on a whole nother level, a whole nother story, but you get the gist of what I'm saying about the so-called beast in the book of Revelation. So the video I wanted to focus on in this video, my focus was about bringing things to pass in our lives, and how that the things that have manifested already, they came to pass already. The things that you can see in the physical realm, the things that you can see physically and tangibly around you that you can touch, came to pass already. And to harp on them and to dwell on them and to complain over them, guess what? You're stuck in the past. Because if it came to pass already, it's in the past. Your vision, your sight should be in the light of the body is the eye. Your vision should be moving forward in your mind's eye. You should be seeing the next stop. And you should be going towards that, and you should be saying bye, see you later to what came to pass already. You see what I'm saying? We dwell in the heavens. Remember, rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. Revelation, the 14th chapter, I believe. But woe unto the inhabitants of the earth. If you're an inhabitant of the earth, then you're looking at what came to pass already, and you're stuck in the past. And you're not. You have to live in the spirit realm. You have to walk in the spirit that you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. This means that we dwell in the heavens, and we continue rejoicing because we know where we're going and what we're headed to, and we know, that this is a cruise and that we're just passing through on a ship. Read in the book of James where the tongue. Let's turn to the book of James. Can we do that? Gee whiz. Hold on.